Welcome back, everybody, to day 34 of the Bink or Bust online poker bankroll challenge, where we try to turn 2,500 into 100K in 6 months. So far, things are ahead of schedule. The bankroll's sitting at about 5,700. We lost a few buy-ins over the last day in a bit since our last stream. I think we're at 6K on the last one. We're gonna check call here with sevens, and he's not gonna bet enough here, so we're just gonna have to go half pot and bet for him. Fold 6-5, and we're just gonna leave this three-handed table. And we're going to leave this heads up table. Looks like the games are kind of crashing out here. We lost some moving tables. Probably just going to be back to the table we were just at. We'll see if these fill in a little bit. Some morning players. But anyways, we did run the bankroll up to 6,300, I think. So we've been on a bit of a downtick, but just 2 seconds, guys. I'll be right back. So we are back. I'm just going to eat some food. I know we just started the stream, but I'm just going to pause it for a second and have a quick bite, and then we'll get back into the update and morning grind here. Hey everybody, we're back here. We're just going to sin, and we are going to. We're definitely going to squeeze here. Jack suited. Nice turn for us. Dodging an ace. Okay. Against weak players, I think we can just here. Okay. Now, probably just need to bluff at this. Yes. Like I said, the ace is a great card for us. Bluff decisions like check shove or from there. So with the 9-10 suited. So anyways, try to pull this up. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna do a little 10%er. I don't expect that to get folds like ever, but 10% of the time is working. Okay, this guy just seems like a big spew. Yeah. And 3 deuce we fold. So today we are up about 80 so far. Instantly won. So insta won 100 big blinds, kings versus ace king, and then we lost to the same player. Basically a 200 big blind pot with ace 6 versus pocket 5s on ace 5-6 board. And then we just kind of grind it up a little bit since then. Not a great flop for the ace king here. We do expect Vaughn, Jing. He seems to be pretty spewy. We're gonna maybe call one here, and then probably just have to check fold turn. He bets again, but yeah, he's definitely like, oh, it's a good turn card. Definitely bluff happy, which is we're just donating money over the last few hands, probably down to 50 now. But anyways, yeah, so let's just go since Thursday. So I don't remember when our last big update was. Even the last session was only like a 20-minute session there. I think we just gave a quick update on the 18th, which was our 1 month start. So yeah, 8,000 hands. We haven't played much. We are up 600, so we're still profit, break back and stuff since last Thursday. But yeah, just like obviously had a nice run up to 1,200, and then it kind of leveled out. NL50 and NL100 are going fine. This was pocket 4s. Just check. I gotta get the stream link over too. Forgetting with that. Okay. 2 seconds here, guys. Okay, everything up, open, fold the 4s, fold the 8-7. Actually, you can defend the 8-7 there. That's been open on the button. All right, we're in. Okay, raise up the 10s. So yeah, we did, because we were over that 6K, we did sit at a few NL200 tables. Unfortunately, we ran 6-7 off into pocket 7s, and the board was, or 7-8, sorry. It was 7-8 suited. We raised button, he 3-bet big blind, I think it was, and we called. And then the flop was like queen, I don't know what it was. It was like queen 4-7. He bet, we called. Turn, he checked, we checked, and we hit an 8 on the river. Turn was a brick, so we made 2 pair in a 3-bet and c-bet pot. So it was really deep, and then I think he just shoved river and we called, and so we got stacked for 200 there. And then we lost kings and I think ace king. So we lost there. NL 200. So that was just like, that was obviously a, I think, big dip somewhere in here. Or over here maybe. Anyways, we are on the grind up, which is good. Out of that little bit of a hole. But yeah, overall, obviously, things have been going good. So just to do a quick recap, the 18th, we're now the 21st. Just pull up the full list of results here. We did not raise pre. We're just going to check here. It's likely that somebody here is going to have a jack or a king or whatever. So ace queen, we're going to bet and double barrel. Definitely value betting now on the turn. Any calls, we get a nice brick on the river. And this goes 61. We're just targeting like king X or worse aces, ace jack, ace 10 in this spot. Obviously, if he shoved, probably has 4s or 9s. I doubt he turns like flush cards into a bluff very often. And then we just call some portion of the time, fold some portion of the time. So yeah, since the 18th, we did get our 60,000 hands in, which was good. That's what we, one of the main focuses was at least playing 60,000 hands for each month. So we did manage to do that. He ISO raises for a 12. I think we just go 13.5 here is probably big enough. We don't have to go like big. Yeah, I guess 13.5 is like 3, almost 3.5 or 3.5 at 200. Yeah, that's pretty good. Anyways, fold 4 deuce, fold 4 deuce. So overall, let's put in a little bit more than 60,000 hands. And we did, we're way ahead of our bankroll chart. We actually hit, like on the 18th, I think we hit 661 or 6,200 bankroll, so we were actually almost 2K ahead of where we needed to be to keep the 6-month 2,500 to 100K sort of goal and dream alive. Fold king 5. So yeah, 60, basically whatever. We played 61,000 hands since the 18th essentially, and this is NL 50. So probably like the majority of the first half was NL 50, and then it was just a mixture of NL 50 and NL 100 after that. So as you can see, we're kind of looping out of it. Hopefully it continues upward. We did run pretty good actually over here, but again, this is a small sample. If you go back, it's just going to basically be even, right? So you just go run good, run bad, however you want to call it, but it doesn't matter what you do. You get your hand in with aces, you know, against pocket deuces, and you win. Now you've basically gained, what, like 20 big blinds in EV by winning, because I think they're supposed to win 20% of the time, so it's just how it goes. It's always going to be up or down. Very rarely they actually line up. So. The queen jack, we raise. I don't know what to think about this GFMLU guy. He always has these monster stacks, and he just seems super spew. Chimp actually showed me a screenshot, and he just won like 120K at blackjack or something, like last night or whatever it was. So I think he's doing good. The 9-5 will fold. So yeah, overall, we are up 5,300 pre-rake back and leaderboard bonuses. So, and we're up about 30, probably about 3,500 right now. So it's pretty close, especially. Yeah, it makes sense. 2K and rake. As you can bump up the rake back structure, you can get to 70% rake. Like, somebody was showing me that you barely even need to beat the game pre-rake, right? Like at NL 500 or NL 1K, and you're just going to be profitable. And at those stakes, you'll make way more money. I think, even barely beating the game, but you need a massive bankroll when you're just beating the game for a big blind or two. After rate. The king 8 suited. Defend here. Okay, we'll check to him. The amount of, I think we're just gonna raise here. And snap calls. I think we just continue with it. So when he's the pre-flop players and he checks back, I just don't really put him on a flush draw. So, and then the majority of his flushes that we call here would need to be like Queen X, right? And I think fish probably don't open wide enough, just in general. So we get led into here. I think we'll call one, then decide, and then we're gonna bet. We'll go 61 and then probably overbet river. So here, ace queen, we just call here. Yeah, and then I think we half stack. Let out. I'm just gonna spam there. I don't think he has an ace very often. We raise under the gun, and then he leads out flop. I think generally this is like 8-9, 10x, or like a spade draw. And then some like really bad aces. And it's wild. May station over. River bets. Led out. Bottom pair on 10, 7, ace. Flop, razors, razor, and then check. Call turn and check call river 2x. So that was an insane call, but we read the hand right. And I think we made the right play. It's just a little bit bonkers if we saw through it. I guess he probably just put us on a flush draw, and that was the end of it. So live and learn. Don't bluff that guy. You know, 8-9's theoretically not the best hand to have, because we do block him from having, you know, like, I mean, fuck, if he had 10, he would have snapped, I guess. But we do block him from having some draws, but again, we unblock when we unblock the flush draw, and he just takes that line. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I think I like the shove. They're not going to work 100% of the time. That one probably should have worked, I think. But I guess what he didn't block. What did he have there? Yeah, he didn't. It's just a pretty hand to lose there. But because he didn't block any spades, he might have thought. Whatever. In the end, he just put us on a flush draw, and that was like the end of it, I think. Yeah, so he's just kind of, I guess, digging the aggro bluff lines and going with it. Okay, we're going to fold to his 10 down here. So that is pretty annoying, to be honest. Here's what it is. Take a note. Don't do that. Lemon drink. Let's see what here is. I'm gonna have. Who's this? Idea. This is, wow, that's a fish. Right. We're gonna sit at this table. If we get a good spot here, it's great. If we take one of the fish's spots, probably just leave. Elon Muckers and wow. Right. 10% the steal, 50%. Let's fold the queen 9 here. So these are important notes to take, though, that he will hero call. That means whenever we have even like top pair, and he's taking a line where we just don't believe him, then we want to get pretty aggressive. At least on the river. It's possible that if we actually bet bigger on the turn, than like 60%, like if we overbet turn and then river, he might have folded. Some portion of the time anyways. So this hand from Brax is likely to be very strong because we're 150 bigs deep. He's big blind, we're under the gun. We are going to call here, but generally he's going to have a strong range, and I don't think people are going to be balancing their bluffs enough here. Like deep, I think he's just going to look at our hand and basically be done with it. So now we do have ace 10 suited and we do have pocket 10s here, I think significantly more often than he does, and we even have some pocket 3s. We have some ace 3 suited. We're going to go ahead and call one, and if he checks, I think our line becomes bet shove. If he bets again, I think we just give up, because I think it's going to be too hard to get him to fold ace king, and I don't think he's going to bluff enough. Fold the 9-3 here, and we're going to ISO with the ace 10 and raise the queen jack. That's too big three-handed. We want to go back to our sort of min opening ranges. Okay, fold the 10-8. I think we'll just go small and then shove. Oh, he'll shove for us. Perfect. Nice. Okay, we just got to dodge a king or a jack twice. Or now we're okay, no king or jack. Okay, chop it up. The queen 7 suited will fold. This table will probably end up leaving. Fold 10-3. Against this guy, we're definitely going to value bet here. Should probably go actually a little bit bigger. But obviously then on the 9, we're going to double barrel. Calls. And then on the river, king probably doesn't change much unless he has jack queen or king 10. King 5 suited, king 4 suited. But we're still value betting 2 pair here, of course. If we get raised, we probably have to fold. Because you do lose to 10-5 suited, 9-10 suited, jack queen, king 10 suited, king 9 suited. Bluffs would be like 6-7, ace deuce off, ace 3 off. He probably check raises those more so on the flop. Expect a raise here when he tanks. Probably like king jack, 6-5, yeah. Head all the way. Definitely, like I get the thought process there when the king rolls off. Maybe he expects us to check 10x, and that's kind of mostly what we were repping, and then continue bluffing with the rest of our range. Oh wow, here we go. We have probably against the 20 big stack, we just ship the ace jack. I don't know if that's call. I guess we just fold because it's an overbet. I'm not quite getting odds to just call. 10 jack. Ooh. That's probably a close one, I would imagine, with 36% equity. But the overbet, I don't think we quite have that call. Oh, okay. And we're gonna fire. We're just gonna sit it on our neck here. Heads up. Fold king 8. Okay. Queen fold the ace four, the queen five off will call. Fold the jack deuce. I will check to him with queen five. He goes full pot on the ace. It's interesting. We beat 9-10, Jack 10, and lose to pretty much everything else. I think when he goes full pot, we don't really need to defend bad queens. Might be a little too tight call there, but or to fold there. But I don't think so. Like not in a limp pot. Then goes blast. Okay, ace nine suited. Five. Let's get to the head moves. Okay. Not sure if this is a call or a 3-bet. It's probably just a raise. It's such a strong hand. I imagine it's just a 3-bet. Because he'll call 8, 9, 9, 10, stuff like that. He does check back, so we're definitely going to be check calling turn. This guy's not checking back 7 or 8. Pretty much ever. Right, now we're going to be check for sure. I don't think there's any world that he checks back 4 7s or 8x on this board. So we just have to call down now. Wow. Right, seems a little bit wild to me, but maybe not. Okay, we'll raise the 7s. Queen 10 suited, we'll just take a flop, keep the fish in. Okay, now we're just going to hope that this guy has some sort of a hand. No. And then we spewed off a big part of our stack on that heads up hand, so that was fun. The guy playing that aggressively in that many hands, like I actually don't know. I'm just gonna untag him, to be honest. Like, I have him as a fish. The guy does have big stacks usually, but when you see him win the massive blackjack, I just wonder how much he doesn't care. Kind of seems like maybe he's just a player that doesn't care so much about the money. Just kind of just blasting away, but these stats are significantly better than they have been lately, so he's obviously not a heater though. He won that massive bad, or not massive, he won that NL50 bad D jackpot for like 6k, and then he won that 110k blackjack, whatever it was, so unfortunately no action again. Fold to 9-3. Anyway, so that's the graph so far on the challenge. So let's just dip back to today. I have no idea where we're at today. We gotta be like even-ish. Get that down a bit. Just floating around even. The king jack off. I think we just fold button versus move position open. Okay. Now we're just checking here at a position. Raise the 6s and just we're gonna check fold this board. Checks back. We're still just checking here. He's gonna check back queen x, 7x, 8x some portion of the time. I'm really not sure what to think about GFMLU. Seems like he does a bunch of spewy stuff, then he seems to do some good stuff, then he also seems to just get pretty lucky in spots, so not sure yet. He's obviously not like a big whale or anything, you know. You can tell from the moves he makes. This guy's actually, I'm not sure. I'll just keep it a fish. We'll fold the 6-7 off. But honestly, these guys are like harder to play against than like all your little nit regs that run around these tables. They don't make any moves. They never bluff. Like honestly, like all the nit regs, all the like regs that are rakeback grinding, it's like you can literally just like fold to any aggression from them, and you just don't have to think about it. Because overall, obviously, you could like tweak it and try to get really, you know, laser focused in on them. But the reality is, they don't bluff anywhere near enough. So the exploits just like mass overfold and never pay them off with anything. I think the knife F suited's fold. Maybe a 3-bet there, but I think it's a fold. But yeah, your massive exploits against them is just a fold 100% of the time. You know what I mean? Like we've seen it even just through the last 30 days on this channel. The amount of times, like you 3-bet one of those nit regs with aces, and if they raise you at any point, you lose. Even in a single raise pot with aces, you raise, they call the big blind or small blind or button, and you bet flop, they call, you bet turn, they check raise, you're just dead. You're dead. You're 100% dead because they're never doing it with draws. They're calling their draw stance. You're never bluffing there. So it's like you have to fold everything that's not at least like top 2. And even top 2. When you have top 2, they have a set. Like it's pretty consistent, realistically, in that regard. The king 9 would fold. Raise the jack 10. So yeah, we've been on a bit of a sort of break-even stretch, but I mean, the reality is we had that one massive day. So if we didn't have that, we'd be feeling pretty good about the chart. Being at basically 10 bigs per 100. Not feeling great about it, but feeling okay about it. But when you have those big run-up days, it's like just a mental thing, and that's like the hardest part about tracking results for stuff like this, is because you're up and down so often, you like see every day as a loss almost, that you're not winning because you're down, you know, less than you were the other day, even though, you know, you're going to have a session and now you're going to be up and then you're back down and you're up, and it's just a constant climb. Mentally, checking every day can be an absolute nightmare. Honestly, and like unless you're on the cusp, like the best practice is really probably just to check like weekly, like once a week, you know, every Sunday or something at the end of your session, not before. You know, you check your results or something. Jack Knight suited 4-way can probably be a bet here. The 10s will just call. It's a good flop. Somehow he's just gonna check back here though. Okay, raises. And we're 3-betting. We're just hoping he has like jacks plus and doesn't want to fold. Interesting here. That's a pretty good start. We're just going to continue here. I think we go big. We're looking to shove river. This is probably too nitty. These are probably some of the spots that are affecting my red line significantly. So we basically just lose to King Jack, which I think, unless he has King Jack diamonds or pocket queens, it's pretty hard for him to have called flop. So we'll probably just have, we obviously have the best hand unless he has pocket queens, right? So we just get it in. Check here, hold the 6s. And this guy generally seems to be pretty stationy on, yeah, there's just a cooler, we do. On flops and turns, a little bit more than the river, I think. Like he's definitely willing to fold. Ace-2 suited, we're gonna fire a 3-bet. Okay, that was a nice little cooler on the turn for us. Okay, so please don't go cold 4-bets. Please don't go is actually a pretty decent player when he's not tilting off. But in past experience, it just seems to be mentally tough for him, I think, swings. And I get it. Everybody rages and stuff, but I think he particularly seems to get really tilted off by it and like spews. I think he went on, like, I remember seeing him going a downswing the one time, and then he was like sitting in on 1K like 2 days later, like, probably just hoping to chase his bankroll, right? One lucky session kind of thing, and then get the loss back. But that, folks, is not the way to do it. And against Derek, I'm just gonna bet here. Yeah, we do make a straight. I'm actually gonna double barrel this, and we're gonna ISO. You can't not. He does check raise us. We're just gonna fold here. Or we're just kind of bluffing, I guess, with our hand. Maybe it's better to just check back, but I think it's fine. And I think there's some portion of his range that still calls, like, what still calls. Alright, we ISO against RX in balls. Go half pot here with queen. Could argue checking back here and then going bet. Like, that is an extremely profitable line with top pair. Can be suited bet. Here with the ace king, we 3-bet, he calls. So I think it's unlikely he's going to have queens, kings, aces with his style. I think he's more likely to have like a king, jack suited, a king 10 suited, an ace 10 suited, jack 10 suited, jack 10 suited, those types of hands. And of course, we're going to bet on the king. No action with the kings. You're going to fold the 10-7. Okay. Then now he calls turn. So he could have some fours, like 4-5 suited, but I think most of his range is going to be king queen when he calls turn. So I think we just jam here and hope he doesn't want to fold king jack or king queen and thinks that maybe ace king wouldn't go that big in that spot. And, you know, we could maybe steal some hero calls out of him. Then you see stuff like this where he doesn't auto rebuy. Like, I don't know what to think. He might just have a certain amount in his, like a small bankroll, so that he is unable to rebuy when he's got like 400, you know, buy-ins on one table, and just kind of eats up his bankroll. But again, he did just win 100-something thousand at blackjack, so it's hard to say. But I imagine he just like ripped that out, unless he's just a degen. He seems to be pretty like decent, or maybe he got some coaching or something. I don't really know what to think. It's 700 hands, so playing all night. Those are pretty decent stats for sort of a leg player. Here I think I'll just bet the flush draw at a position. We do a lot of checking, but with the ace out there, I think probably best to just bet and then bet turn. And then we just have an easier kind of check full on the river when we rip. And then if he raises, it just becomes a pot odds thing, right? With implied odds added in there. It's our equity. And right now we're just pushing our equity, and if he doesn't have an ace, it's getting pretty hard for him to call against a bet and a 75% barrel from edit position. Fold the 10-3. Fold the jack 9. Raise the king 6 suited. Fold the 9 deuce. Fold the 7-3. Fold the 4-3. Right. Raise. Fold the 10-6, fold the jack 5. And we'll figure out the pocket 5s here against this guy. He's going to have obviously a pretty massive range, so we're going to have a good chance of just having the best hand, as it is. And then obviously against players like this, if you flop a set, you're going to stack them a large portion of the time. So he thinks a little bit and then calls. This board, 3-bet pot, we can just go small. This board, in a single raised pot, we can go half pot here. So he's pretty like fit or fold. Or fold. Flop, which makes sense given his stats. There's nothing there. So this guy's never going to check raise without at least 2 pair. Never going to do it with a gut shot. He's never going to do it with flush draw. He's never going to do it with bluff. Or ace high or gut shots or stuff like that. So it's going to be check raising value, basically. And then all of his like single top pair hands are just going to be like not willing to fold, but he'll check call, check call, check call, which is pretty standard for most fish. You do need to kind of pay attention to the ones because some people will just spaz and flush draws, but never straights, never gut shots. It's like almost always 2 pair plus. And then there's some guys who will do it with like the flush draws and like the ace high flush draw, and they'll see that as kind of a nutted hand when they flop it, and they'll just go bonkers with it, which is fine some portions of the time, right? Diamond Jerks, we at this? Oh, we are at this table. Hopefully it's been going good. Yeah, we're up. We'll take it. I am going to mark the NL 200 table. So we have 4 NL 100 tables rolling in the Bankroll Challenge, 1 NL 200 table. We'll fold to 7-4. And King 10 off, we'll bump it up. So we did end up actually grabbing the best seat in the house here. It was a good flop. I think I'm going to check back. It's not a great turn. Unless he has like ace jack or jack 10 or something. But when we just destroy this board, usually we c-bet pretty much 100% of the time. But against the fish, I think it's fine to check back some portion and try to... I think here there's no reason to blow up the pot with Barada opening under the gun. I think we'll just call and keep all these crazy fish in here and see kind of what we can turn. And Barada's going to play pretty honest with 4 players out there, I think. So I think flush draw, he'd be betting it. I think most of his Queen X bets there. I think he sees through it, though, if I bet small. So I think we check again. He checks. Interesting. He bets really small. So Rexvin, okay, we're calling here with 10. I think J. Lou would have bet a flop, would have bet the queen on the flop. Rixvin would have bet the queen on the flop as well. Sorry, Jack Lou would have bet the queen on the turn. Rixvin would have bet the queen on the flop. And I think the flush draw does not go that small. Yeah, so that makes sense. Let me take that down. Crit, fold to 10 deuce. And yeah, obviously you squeeze out the kings here. We'll just limp in here and see if Barada lets it go. It does, which is good to know. Probably just has nothing though. We have a gut shot. I think this is a spot we could lead out. Barada does call. Okay, everybody calls. Not sure what to make of that. I think we just check here. Okay, pre-flop caller. This is a crazy flop for us, so we're just gonna hope Derek is willing to start betting. Okay, he does bet. I think we probably have to call 1 when we hit the 10, even when everybody called our lead out. Alright, and then we're just gonna be done here. Alright, pocket deuces here. Derek did bet turn and bet river. Okay, we're obviously folding here. And now we jam. So Barada probably has like jack 4 or something. Or ace jack. Wow, that seems nice. We did collect from Derek though. That seems a little bonkers to me. 2 mega whales limp in. I completed the small line, and he checked back the blind with his jack offsuit. That's could have just been sus. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. I don't even want. I can't even look at this hand. This time bank stuff is ridiculous. Alright, if I see pocket queens, I'm gonna lose my mind. It's just ridiculous. You time out a couple times, then you're screwed. Basically, you gotta buy in more time. Like, alright, I don't even care. Fold the ace-10. We're just gonna ignore that fact that we folded kings pre-flop there. Move on. But damn, that is annoying. You gotta get used to it too, because it's like, I don't know. It'd be better if you didn't get time banks at all, I think, because then you're naturally reacting faster to everything. It's like Poker Stars. That's how it is there. It's very quick. So you just get used to reacting. Here, it's like, you know, you get all your time banks, and then you burn through a couple of them, and now you have a couple tables where you got to react in like 6 seconds, and then you have a bunch of other tables. We're ISOing the 8s here, where you have all this time on them, and whatever. It is what it is. Pay more attention, I guess, is what the reality is. Okay. King Jack off. But again, overall, for you guys just joining here, the 100K bankroll challenge is going pretty darn good. Cruising through. Let's see, today we're probably up a little bit now. Yeah, we're up 200 today, so I'd say that's pretty good so far. Against Arthur, he is pretty aggressive, but 8s, we're just gonna King Jack off we call. It's actually a really, really small 3-bet here, which I don't think I can fold to be honest. And then I'm just gonna lead out here. If he corrects back, so we're gonna value bet the king. Honestly, I think if he has like kings plus, this will just get him to shove, or like queens plus, like it just gets him to shove. But all of his bluffs stay in. He does call. And GFMLU happened here. We call, checks, flop checks back, we bet turn, he raises. I think we call 1 anyways. And then we'll decide later. So on the 8s, I think the lead out's good, and then he just calls. And then we can kind of decide what we want to do here. It's half pot, eh? Interesting. Okay. He goes pretty big on the turn. I doubt he does that with ace-king. I think ace-king probably just checks back a ton. Knit fold there, and I think he could have a lot of pocket queens here. I think I am going to call though. Yeah, so yeah, okay, so he's definitely using blockers to bluff. So we had the 10 there, basically he's blocking the straight, so he's bluffing it. However, we have the jack that was blocking the straight, so we call it. But, you know, also opened 10B suited from middle position. So he's probably, I don't even know, to be honest, opening 10B suited. I guess he's probably opening every like suited hand, but his VPIP will be a lot higher than that. We're just gonna double check that, make sure it wasn't an accident. Yeah, he raised. Okay. So what happened here? The 3-bet took it down. Yeah. Right. And we're gonna 3-bet the queen jack suited. Fold 10-3. Fold 10 deuce. Okay. Cheers. It's all yours, sir. Every penny in that is yours. Where is it? There it is. 8. Yeah, the cold 4-bet. I like the lead. Um, he likes to be, yeah, he's very aggro and like kind of spewy, but I think, I'm not sure. Like, I think if I lead that, I probably have to bet shove. But check calling might just be best there. Like, if we check and maybe he only bets 10% or 12% pot, we can call. And then maybe it makes turn a little bit easier to play. I just think, against somebody who's like aggressive, they're going to see that donk lead probably is weaker. Against more tight regs who just play ABC, the donk lead becomes a bit better because they'll just fold it. Like, they'll just fold if they don't have anything, or, you know, that kind of stuff. So I think if we donk lead there, we should probably just value bet turn a lot. And 300 big to deep in the small blind versus him, I think check calling is fine. I think building a massive pot 300 big deep at a position against an under the gun opener with an offsuit hand is probably not a great idea. So we're just going to treat the small blind like the big blind this deep and call ace king some portion of the time and 3-bet it some portion of the time. Probably going to call again here. Thing is, we can have the best hand like a good portion of the time. And here, going to be squeezing. Because he can have 8-9, he can have king-queen, I can have king-9. Yeah, exactly. So, ace-king is way too strong to fold there when we just call pre-flop. Okay, what happened here? We were 3-betting up first. It's only 10 bigs, so of course we call aces. Over, and this which is fine. It is what it is. You run into it. Oh, king on the river too. Okay. King 5 fold. So we're at this table specifically attacking these two. That's all we're looking to do, basically. We don't really have any intentions in getting involved with the regs at the table, unless we need to. Okay, how much did this guy really increase? So we're going to 3-bet the jacks here, fold king 4. 9 deuce ace, we'll see bet some portion of the time, just check this out, and then we're going to bet king, and we'll go, I guess we'll go 3/4 pot here. I mean, he calls the king, he's probably not folding now, so we'll just check, okay. King 9 offsuit. Okay. Switch check back on the ace. Yeah. 3-bet pot, pocket jacks, check calls flop, ace falls. Probably have to bet here. I think checking back is, honestly, if we check back there, it's because we're scared he's going to check shove like ace king, right? If he doesn't have ace king, he's not going to check. He doesn't have ace queen, he's not going to check shove ace jack. So it's just, that's a play that we need to work on for sure in these spots. Even betting turn would be probably fine. Like if this jack, when the ace falls, jacks probably becomes 2 streets. So if you don't bet the turn, which might be better, you have to bet the river there. But I think with the flush draws and some like gut shot, you know, combos and stuff like that, betting becomes a lot better. And here with the nut flush draws, the pre-flop raiser, we're just gonna bet big. GFMLU makes the call. So he doesn't like to fold, and he does like to bluff. So when we pick up the extra equity here, I think checking becomes significantly better against a player who likes to bluff and doesn't like to fold, because it's okay, we're gonna have to bluff on the ace though, or on that king. It becomes hard to get him to fold like a 5. And if he does call a 5 here, or like 6s, I think that's probably pretty bad. And then we lean more towards him not hand reading as much as I kind of think he does. Because the king makes such a big portion of our range up that I don't think he should be calling like bottom pairs there too often. Mind you, the flush did miss, so it's like that's like a key spot to bluff when your flush draw misses, is when like a king or an ace falls on the river, because you can rep them. So he does have to call some portion of the time, but okay, we'll check back to 6. Okay, and we 3-bet the ace king. Even against the reg that we're trying to avoid and just focus on these 2 fish at NL 200, that is obviously still needs to be a bet. What's the weather like today? Let me check this out before we shut down our session here. Jack 6 suited is a fold. That's nice enough. Fold, but nice enough. Beautiful. Fold the king 4. Fold the jack 7. Yeah, so it starts to rain this afternoon. That's it. Fold here, fold 7 deuce. King 9 suited will bump up. Raise the 10-8 suited. Fold 9-3. Okay. I think here we want to bet. If it was like king 9-6 and we had a weak king, we'd be more likely to check that back. But on this type of board, which is 10 high, then I think, I'm not sure what GTO does, but I think it bets the 10 most of the time. And the reason being, when it's like 10x instead of like a king x, he can have tons of like jack queen, king jack, you know, king 8, stuff like that, where they have actually quite a bit of equity against you. So you want to be betting in those spots, because if he folds, like, say he has king 8 spades or king 8 of clubs, and you bet and he folds there, like, that's a huge win for us, because that's a ton of equity that he just gave up for just a single bet. So that becomes a pretty big win. Whereas when you have a king here, you're not so much worried about having to force him to fold things out, because you're not worried about him hitting nearly as much. The only bad card is kind of like an ace, so you don't need to protect your range as much. You can check back there, and then he can also hit, which adds equity versus taking it away. Here we're big blind, limp pot. I don't care. We're just checking down against the fish. Fold king 10. We're gonna 4-bet this a good portion of the time, and we're gonna call some portion of the time as well. And we'll check here. Better than you, we'll check this back, and when we do bluff, we bluff big. He's just gonna fold pretty much always here. Pocket jacks with a bet, so if unless he's slow playing pocket 5s or 7, he's just done with the hand. That's pretty standard. We'll fold the ace 6 offsuit. Fold 5. 7-5 off, we'll let that go. This should not be auto folding, but it's going to be hard to leave this table here shortly when I need to go to work. Check jack 6. Against this guy, we're just going to value bet the 6 on the turn. Okay, ace 3. Ace 4. Close enough. Fold queen deuce. Did he have a draw there on the turn, or did he just call it? So, yeah, he had the draw on the 5. That's right. That's another thing you need to take note of. Was, oh yeah, he does lots of reason. Against the fish is that find the ones who are check calling, who are calling to draw. Like they have a draw to a draw, basically, right? And some of them will just non-stop call that. So I think I'm going to check call flop. Diamond's not great. And he just checks back. We're just going to, let's go like half pot here. It's just not a great run out. The plan was to check shove turn without a diamond, if you bet. And I think he would have bet if the diamond didn't hit. By the river, we're just trying to get called by like ace 9 or 10x or something like that. You know, pocket jacks, whatever. And we're going to ISO the limp. And this is going to be a cautious ISO. If he back raises, we're just done. Like, he is clearly aggressive. It's the fact that if he were to take a check back line, or a check raise line, even this, I'm just done. It's just too weird pre-flop. The limp against a guy who's like opening 40, 33% of the time, like every hand, and then just limps. It's strange. Alright, so Clutney makes the call in the small blind, and then he leads out here, so yeah. This is like 101 that he has like 8, 9, 9, 10, pocket 6s, pocket 7s, like 6, 7. Wow, this guy leads into us. Relatively big, too. Cool little 4-bet here, just small in position. And we do fold here. The reality is, Queen beats a bunch of his 2 pairs and stuff, but Jack 4-4 in position here. I guess we check it back. But when he leads out there, it's because I'm pretty much I'm just with the hand way too often. Okay, so he calls. Snap bets. I'm going to call here on the 2 pair. Like 2-1, pretty deep. Okay, and then we're going to raise the 7-8 offsuit. Just not sure if I should shove this. Just the way he snapped. Oh, that's a terrible river. Just the way he snapped that turn was strange to me. Beat King Queen. We beat Queen 10. Nice. Yeah, I guess calling was fine. It's back and forth between shoving and calling there. Okay, we do flop the King 10 here. That should have been probably a squeeze against these fish. And here, this guy just plays fit or fold, so we're just going to make a small c-bet. Go from there. And of course, we're going to call RX, BX, and get trips on the turn. He bets again. We call. 7 rolls off. And I think we have to bet probably ourselves here. Yeah. And the reason is that if he's bluffing and he has like ace X, he's going to check that back. Did we just bet river there and he folded? Or check, 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 check? There's no base high. Yeah, whatever. Probably just double draw turn better. And we'll ISO RX to the end. Oh, that's too small. Just a click. At least 4x for ISOs. We're just gonna bet small here. And I think probably just check him up against him. Ace high is probably actually get a lot here once he snap checks river. Yeah. Huh? Take note of that. Yeah, so he's just playing every hand like call King 5 off. Middle position, which is fine. Like that guy's free money. Here, 9-7, suited. Too much likelihood of getting squeezed out here. Okay, on this board, what happened here? Flute me. I think I think we're supposed to go bigger, maybe? Like half pot or something on that board. This guy's calling it a small blind like a lot here. Just strange. The king deuce suited. We'll bump up. Fold jack 7 off. Fold jack 4 off. Fold 10-7. Fold 5 deuce. It's a lot of folding. And given this board, we're gonna actually, because we block like how it leads into us. We're gonna know. So we'll see like we missed a lot. Open up since it's suited. His PFR is 1, and his intent to steal is 5. So I think it's safe to say that when he calls pre and then leads 3/4 pot, I just fold. Probably just fold. Fold the 9-7. Here with the king 9, plan is to check raise. He did not oblige, so now we'll 2x pot it, and he'll just fold. Wow. Okay. Guess we call. We were hoping for a nutted flop. We're gonna obviously fold here to the first sign of aggression from Ritzman. Stuck in the middle, especially on the button, we'd call there. But stuck in the middle, you're kind of screwed. He probably has ace king, to be honest, when he checks turn. Like 100% of the time, like ace king, ace queen, king queen, close enough. Chasing the gutter, makes sense, I guess. If he thinks he just has like a nutted hand. Okay, fold the king free, fold the 7 deuce, fold the queen 8 suited, fold the 6-5 off, fold the king 6. Okay, bottom pair here, pre-flop razor. Bunch of callers. I'm just gonna go big here. I'd rather have a heart out there to bet. But okay, so Cluny calls. We know he's chasing gutter balls and stuff. He's gonna chase diamonds. Okay, another raise. Interesting. Not sure what to do here. I know this seems stupid to fold 8. Like, I don't want to 3-bet this guy who never raises. I don't want to call because these guys are going to squeeze me too much. Although they might be thinking the same thing where I just call here. They might just say screw it and go call, call, call and just chase this guy's money, basically. He seems to be like tilted. He's going bonkers here with these min clicks and raising and stuff now. So maybe we should just 3-bet him. Flop will be like 8-8 ace or something probably. Okay, so Omar does not 3-bet free, so let's just run the hand now that we can actually pay attention. We're gonna check raise. So basically, he doesn't have 9s plus because he would 3-bet those small blind versus big blind. So our plan is to check raise and then check the side turn, or then the side turn. Sorry. We do a lot of, we will check raise top pairs, like decent top pairs, and over small over pairs, and use them to balance our check raise and then check turn raise range against good players. Because there's a lot of players who like know that I'm relatively aggressive in some spots, compared to the pool anyways. So they know that I am check raising in spots. So I feel good. A good way to balance that, because if you're check raising like gut shots and all this kind of stuff, right? People are gonna have to start calling you lighter and floating you and then bluffing you when you check turn. So good balanced hands are like top pairs in my opinion that are not necessarily great, but are most likely the best hand. And I guess those guys who you know are going to float you pretty wide. I do like to check raise them because they call flop so wide, and then you can check call turn, check call river when they're planning like that bluff line. And then it becomes more difficult for them to, you know, be floating your flop range and stuff like that. If you're only check raising and barreling turn with the nutted hands, then when you check turn, it becomes pretty blatantly obvious what you have. So adding in, I'm not saying we do it all the time, but obviously adding in some check raises in certain spots with some like top pairs and even like second pairs and stuff, and then check calling turn can kind of balance you out pretty decently. Thomas Engine says, good to see you, keep on winning. Care to share how you work on the game off the table? Well, Thomas, sorry. Holy Moses, it's cold. It's been like never ending. But basically, so we're going big here. We don't have the ace of diamonds, so I just want to blast basically. Hopes that he's going to chase the bear ace or call down worse flush draws, two pairs, etc. So it's going to be pretty standard here. So Thomas, basically, I have a couple guys that we run hands off of. I do have a coach that I've had before and that I do call up every once in a while to work on hands and stuff. And obviously here with the king 10 suited, I think I'm just going to jam. When he calls this board, when he calls and calls again, he has like two pairs sets or flushes. And if he has the ace high flush, like who cares? That's what it is. Yeah, and then we just have basically there's a couple guys who play the same stakes or a bit higher than me, so we bounce hands off each other. I use GTO Wizard to study certain spots and kind of what's like the theoretical best play, and then you can adapt that, you know, based on your opponents and stuff. And yeah, that's really about it. Like just you know, if you want to try to move up, really the key is to find some guys and girls that play the stakes that you do. You know, start up a Discord, you know, get in there, 2, 3, 4 of you, whatever it is, and you know, play your sessions, post a few hands, you know, talk about the hands, and I think you'd be surprised how quickly you can move up doing it that way. And if you're in a group, like a lot of coaches will do like group sessions, right? So if there's 3 or 4 of you and, you know, you want to get a really good coach, you know, that's maybe $300 an hour, but, you know, and you do a group chat, when it's split between all of you, it becomes significantly more affordable, right? Just to kind of kick you onto the right track or, you know, help you guys kind of focus in or kind of whatever it is. This deep, we're doing nothing but calling sevens here. Not a great flop for him, no matter what his hand is. So he checks, starts with a check. That's going to be pretty standard, and we're going to start with a bet. Against this deep, I'm just going to let 5 suited go. Yeah, but that's really what it comes down to. Is you really need to like get into a Discord with some guys that are playing the same stakes as you. This makes absolutely no sense, by the way. I don't really want to get into a 400 big blind pocket 7, but I think we're going to call 1. So anyways, Thomas, before we get too deep into this hand, yeah, just find some guys who play the same stakes as you, study together, share hand histories, talk about it. Don't worry about them getting some read on you or some BS like that. It's not really going to matter. The amount that you're going to learn from each other is way better. And just study, get some GTO study in there too if you need to, and work on your game. So the only reason I might fold here is because I'm a giant nit. Like, I think we just have to check down here with the set. It's so annoying. We have no time bank either to think. It's so frustrating. The real reality is here was when he 3-bets, unless he has an 8, This is so annoying. I'm gonna take 30 seconds here. It's worth it. But it's like, this is, it just feels like a bluff, honestly. On 5-8-8, for him to check raise like kings or aces, it just makes no sense, right? Like kings, aces, jacks, tens, like none of that makes any sense, because all you're gonna do is check raise, and get. I am folding though. I think the reality is, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense, for people to bluff in a 300 and although this guy did just win 100K, so who knows? But I think in reality, the check raise there does not make a lot of sense on this board with value. Makes sense with like 6-7 of spades. We block obviously sevens, but he's only doing it probably. Well, you do it with 6-7 if you 3-bet that. Pocket fives, maybe, but that makes no sense either because you're gonna want me to keep betting. I think, especially if I have an 8, I think you'd be check calling at least. Well, I don't know. I guess if I have an 8, maybe you want to check raise the fives. I don't know. We're gonna call the queen here. Let's just run this through quick. He calls when he donk leads flop, donk leads turn. He is going to milk us if he goes really small again. We're just going to call. When he goes half pot, it's probably like really bad to call here, right? Against the guy who never really does anything aggressive. Get 3-1. I don't know. It's like his most likely holding is spades, but when he goes small, small, and then actually increases the percentage of his bet size on the river, it makes it, I think, less likely he has spades and more likely he just has a king. Here we just check back, it's only the bad card to come. Check back the king though. And if he bets, we probably call one. He does check. We'll check back again, and then now we can call like a river stab. He does check aces here. I just think we're gonna value bet. Do we value bet the king here? It's probably pretty. Yeah, we value bet. Fuck it. He hasn't. If he binked a 9 on the river, he's gonna call. And I don't think he's gonna double check an ace. He's gonna go for some value somewhere there. Oh, well, this table just died, so I'll still away though. And I'll bet the flush draw in the ace high board. We're just gonna leave this NL200 table, and we are gonna double barrel this. I think 10's a decent card. We're basically saying we have an ace. He didn't 3-bet, so he does not have a strong ace. So I don't know about this pocket sevens hands. It's pocket 7 hand though, to be honest. I'm actually gonna sell to that Thomas, what we were just talking about. Fold the 8 deuce, fold the 6-4, fold the 8-6. So that pocket sevens hand. 7, 400 big blinds. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to take that into my little study group, and I'm going to take a look at it. Another thing too is that like when you're playing the micro stakes and you're grinding up, playing reg tables is just dumb. Even at L100, like playing this table right now, probably not overly profitable. So that's probably going to get shut down relatively soon here. Okay, so I'm going to, I had the back doors here. I'm just going to raise this half pot bet, blind versus blind. And the 9s, we're going to 3-bet. Yeah, so we'll take that hand into the study group because it is a weird one. I think the reality is, though, it's just like, I feel like we should be, if we were 100 bigs deep, I don't think I'd be folding there. Just like when he 3-bets, he probably doesn't have pocket fives. I don't really know how often he's going to be 3-betting like 7-8 suited and 8-9 suited. 3-bet Queen-9 suited cutoffers under the gun. Yeah. It's also hard. Like yeah, it's tough. It's really tough for him to have a value hand there unless he has specifically pocket fives or an 8. Which maybe he just had an 8. Maybe he just has an 8, right? Maybe he just has 7-8, 8-9, ace 8. You know. I don't know. Could be a call there. 2 players behind and just fold it, I guess. Check calling or check raising here some portions of the time. He checks, so he is going to check back a bunch of jacks here. A bunch of overcards. So I think we just give him a chance to bluff with all of his overcards. And we're going to give him one more chance to bet with like King X or Queen X or something. If we raise, he doesn't have a 7 like ever. I'm surprised he actually double checked a jack there. But if he's scared of the check raise, I guess it kind of makes enough sense. But usually, if you check back there, you're going to bet top pair on the turn, a good portion of the time. But it does make sense. It's basically like one street value hand there, for the most part. 3-bet the ace queen. Okay, that is a pretty good board for us. And we value bet. Okay, the 6 rolls off, so 5, 6, 6, 7, those all keep calling. This guy does like to bluff. So I think I'm going to go for the check shove here. Bets his queen kings, he bets his queen jacks. If he has like 7, 8, 6, 7, he's going to bet here a lot. Obviously, we lose to 5s, 6s, and 8s. But I think there's enough in his hand here that's going to call, like Queen 10, Queen Jack can call some portion of the time. So yeah, I think I like the check shove there. Maybe the tank, maybe it's better to shove a little bit faster. That tank shove might get him to fold too easily, but he is a bluffer. He does like to bluff the turn, so I think that's a good hand to check shove on. You could make an argument for check calling and because of how much he likes to bluff, and I think maybe thinking about it now, if it was say the 6 of spades, then maybe we check shove more, but when it's like a bricky 6 of diamonds, check calling against a guy who likes to bluff probably becomes a little bit better. And I'm just gonna go 2x here with the flush draw. I expect him to just fold almost 100% of the time. A little less likely to do it because the 9 falls and like some portion of his check back range is going to be 9x, like when there's an overcard to that out there. Fold 10-8. The ace queen 200 bigs deep. Honestly, I have no idea. Like 200 big blind plus poker, like I just don't study it much because it doesn't come up often enough. Like usually at these tables, you end up with, one guy who's got 400 big blind stack, and then there's just like a bunch of fish who just keep rebuying stuff like that. Now the question, I think we just check call. We could value bet our ace maybe, but I think he's more likely to check back an ace as well. And I think if he did bluff, like I'm surprised he didn't bet that in all honesty. At all. I'm surprised he didn't, like when I checked to him there, like he's blocking me from having 7-8. I think he's got to bet that at some point. I think checking that all the way down is probably a mistake for sure. Thomas says, thanks, I will take that advice. Yeah, no problem. I suggest you do. It really does help having some guys who are working through the same rate you are. But they got, like, keep in mind, you got to try to find guys who are actually serious about the game and moving up stakes. So let's take a look at today. What do we think? Do you think we're above that? I think we're below that. We had those two, that 400 big blind hand, and then at the same time we lost at the NL 200 table. I was wrong. We are actually $100 above that, so I guess we're running pretty well today so far. Also, the tables are like full of fish, so it's like almost hard to lose. All right, and we're gonna 3-bet here. That's pretty big. Squeeze. Jacks are basically like, they're obviously like a 4-bet here or fold. Mostly we 4-bet. I do fold some portion of the time. The fact that this guy's raising makes it a little bit suspicious. And we're gonna 3-bet the ace-4 suited. 7-15. Okay. Well, I do need to get out of here. So that nitty fold pretty much be, yeah, the ace king there. That doesn't make sense. And on this board, I think we just go big. Pretty sure like the double face card on a flush draw board, you want to go big. Big might be 50% though, not like 60-70%. Then snap calls. This is interesting because I have so much ace king that okay, so here's the line I'm going to take against this guy. He's never going to check back queens, jacks, tens, 2-pair. So my line is going to be the check turn, shove river, because I'm saying I have ace king, and I think the 9 kind of sucks because now he has like king egg going to call. But yeah, like 100% of the time, this guy's just too aggressive, too bluffy, too all of those things. So that when he, and it just, I don't know. Fold there, fold here. Yeah, it just makes sense. If we have ace king, we're going to check here because it looks like we're hoping he has queens, jacks, tens, jack 10, jack queen, queen king, and they're going to bet, and then we can shove into him. And I know for a fact that if he checks back, he doesn't have any of those hands very often, and probably has more like an ace jack or a king jack or a king or a queen, ace queen kind of type hand. Pocket 8s, pocket 9s. Pocket 9s might call on in the end, but I don't think so. All of his 2-pairs probably fold to this shove, and a bunch of his sets as well. So, anyways, that will be the last hand. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and we will see all you guys in the next stream. Oh, hold on. Let's just check this here. So Tade asks, do you ever play PLO? No. I've played randomly, but I don't know anything about it, so I don't play much. And do you play full-time or have a job as well? I have a full-time job, and I also have 3 kids. So I play in the morning hours when nobody's up, and then usually I try to squeeze in an hour or two when everybody's asleep. But outside of that, yeah, I work all day. So, yeah. And to that fact, anybody who tries to play or doesn't have a full-time job, like you should be able to play like 5, 6, 7, 8,000 hands a day without breaking a sweat. If you're not, I don't think you're taking it serious. So that is my 2 cents for the day.